What's up, guys? No sound. I know, I had it muted. Customer came in. So, can you hear me now? I think you can hear me now. How about now? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Alright, so I'm going to start by mutilating this board with my snips. And hold on a second. Alright, sorry about that, guys. So, like I said, time to mutilate this shield. What I'm going to do is, you want to look under your shield and see if there's anything there, and clip in the openings. So we'll clip this opening. My snips, unfortunately, have been bent, and they now don't line up perfectly, so I have to sit here and fight with them. I'm going to order some new ones today, because I'm tired of having to do this. Alright, maybe we can actually get something done now. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and clip all these areas here. So we have access to the NAND. You could desolder these shields, but it's a lot of work, honestly, for little gain. I guess if you're going for aesthetics and you don't want to have broken off sections of the cover, whenever you put the main cover back on, you can't see any of this anyway. So, like the actual top piece that goes over it, you can't see any of that. Main thing here is you just want to make sure you try to work these off, because if you just kind of rip them, it can pull the top ground layer up with them, and some of those components are tied to that ground layer, and you can actually lift them. We've been successful with this off stream a few times so far, like the last couple days, but there's always a chance that this won't work. So the iPhones seem to be much easier than the iPads are to get the NAND off, so far in my experience at least. I'm trying to think of which way I want to mount this. I guess this is okay. So I'm going to get our thermal sticker off the back of the shield here, the one that was on it, and we'll put that back on the CPU. We'll put our coin on top to hopefully protect that. I'll turn the exposure down some, since it's going to be hard to show all this, because I kind of pull the board out when I'm doing the hot air, because I like to be straight over it. Hopefully the camera down here I can angle it out so you all can see some of it. But I'm going to go ahead and clean the underfill out as much as I can here. I'm also, pin 1's down here. You can mark it by just putting an X on the board. I've done a few iPad minis, so I kind of understand where pin 1 is on these, but if you're worried about it, you can always mark it. So I'm pressing down through the underfill. I'm not trying to scrape it out right now. The thicker areas, if you try to scrape it out, you'll tend to lift caps with them. Once you press down, though, you can go back in and see you can pull it right out. If I came in here and just bulldozed through it, a good chance is that one of those caps will come up, and then you're in a little harder situation. So same thing here, just press down through the underfill with heat, and then come back the other way, and it'll lift out. So we're pressing down again, and then come back through. You don't want to be too aggressive, because you can dig into the board. So do it with some modesty. Don't go crazy on it. I like to put flux all the way around the chip. That way, as it lifts, this will kind of promote to go under the chip some. And then we're going to use our thin, totally bent up and mutilated. Now this is not 4G. If it was a 4G, I wouldn't do this. I would just remove the resistor and make it a Wi-Fi only. Sensitive ears. Alright, so I'm going to try to keep this in focus so you all can see it. It's going to be difficult. And got a phone call. Can't catch a break. Alright, so the girlfriend has locked herself out of the house and out of her car. So I've got to try to get this off fairly quickly. I'm using a larger nozzle now. I found that it makes it a little easier to pull these. So I'm just heating. I know it's hard to see. Let me flip that image so you all can see that better. Not what I clicked on. Alright, there we go. So I'm just going to heat this. It shouldn't take terribly long, maybe 30 or 40 seconds to get it up to temperature. When it starts to melt, you'll actually see some areas where it'll boil flux out from under the chip, where the chip is expanding and pushing out some alright, so it's pushed out on this right side now. I can see where it's bubbling. So I'm going to just start pushing against the underfill on this edge. When the underfill gets hot enough, it'll let you slide right in without much resistance. I find that the mini 1s and 2s tend to be an absolute nightmare sometimes, so. Still hasn't let me in on the underfill. I'm just going to keep heating it up. I don't know if the mini 1s have more thermal mass or what it is, but they're just... Mini 1s and 2s just do not want to cooperate as easily as some of the other ones. Like on the mini 3 I did earlier, this thing was already to a point where I could get my feeler under it to where I could start lifting it. I'm going to focus a little bit on this edge. Alright, so let me in some now. So I'm going to keep working it around. Now, knock some components loose. No big deal. A couple caps. So I'm going to put some flux under here now that the chip is lifted on this side. You really want to take your time here. You don't want to rush. You'll cause more damage if you're trying to rush through. Alright, so it's off. We can see the caps that are knocked loose so that you know that nobody's perfect. So this cap here I knocked loose. But if you look at your pads, I've got a little exposed. That's most likely a ground or something. But no big deal. We can put some conformal coating on that. The key here, hopefully we haven't mutilated the chip. Okay, so the chip's in good shape too. This is the key. The chip is really important. The actual body of the iPad's not that big a deal because you can kind of work with it. As long as you haven't lifted any pads, you're okay. The only issue is the chip. If you tear up the traces on the bottom of the chip, the problem is when you go to reball this, all these little areas that are exposed are going to want to bridge solder. So they'll cause a situation where the chip will not read or it won't respond properly. So you want to make sure that you get that correct. I'm actually going to have to cut this a little short and come back because I got to run out there and unlock the house for my girlfriend. But I'm just going to make sure this reads, and then I'm going to cut it for a second, and then I'll come right back as soon as I get back from there. So I've got the Navi Plus. We're going to pop our chip in and make sure we're oriented correctly. Okay, so chip is in. So it reads 16 gig NAND, which is what our chip is. And then if we go over here to read and write, we'll see if this is a 64 or 32-bit chip. We'll click read. Okay, so it says that the operation didn't work, so we'll switch it to a 32-bit NAND. Enter. Read. Alright, so it's reading the chip now. You all probably can't see it, but so now that it's read, I can see the serial information, the manufacturer information, the region, the baseband, and the Wi-Fi MAC address, and I can also read the serial from, I believe, what the motherboard serial would be. So we'll go in and edit the serial number, and we'll reprogram it. But I'm gonna run over and help her out in the meantime, and we'll come back and clean this stuff up. Sorry, I gotta cut it short real quick, but life, man. I'll be back in a little bit to continue with this. I'm not gonna do anything on it while I'm gone. As soon as I get back, we'll pick up from where I am. See you all in a second. Sorry about that.